Hey guys, it is NCS Fan 001 here for another one of those weekly trophy list updates. Today's date is Monday, July 4th, 2022. So this will have covered the week of June 27th through July 3rd of 2022. I actually had to pull up my phone and look at the calendar because I wasn't entirely sure and didn't feel like doing math today. Anyway, this was a reasonably productive week given the fact that I was sick this past week with my second round of the virus that cannot be named on YouTube. So I didn't make as much progress as I would have liked, but I am happy with what I managed to get done this week. So I will go ahead and re-mention that the previous week I worked on Resident Evil 2 where I got the auto-popped platinum for it. Same with Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, except that Jedi Fallen Order didn't entirely unlock auto-pop like it was supposed to. It unlocked all but like 4 trophies that I had to go back in and do in the combat arenas for some reason. But my main focus this week has been on Ghost of Tsushima. So as you can see, I am only missing 2 trophies in this game, and then I will be done. So we can go ahead and talk about all 5 DLCs today. So we had already finished... Ooh, a LEGO Star Wars update. I wonder if we got new trophies for that. That's probably not going to say. I'll check at the end of the video. Anyway, so for the Legends mode, you have to complete all of the stories on a single difficulty. So just do them all on bronze, and you'll get these trophies very easily. You also have to finish the final wave of a gold survival, but we've both done that many times now because it's not terribly difficult as long as your group is somewhat competent, and you can usually just find decent randoms to do it with, so that's not really that hard. The main difficulty with this DLC, really the main time sink for this DLC, not the difficulty but the time sink, is to reach rank 20 with all roles. There are 4 different roles that you have to get them up to rank 20. And it takes like a good probably 5 hours per roll to get through this. So it definitely takes a while to reach that maximum rank. The best way to do it is either just to keep replaying gold survivals, mostly with randoms, or you can just keep replaying the very first story mission on gold difficulty. I recommend not really trying to level up these classes and going for the golden survival final wave until you have a pretty high gear score. Like I would say at least probably 90 gear or higher. I think the maximum gear score you can have in this game is 120, and I'm at like 110 or 111 with all of my classes. And gear is shared between classes unless you like lock it to a certain class. So it's not really that hard to reach rank 20, it just takes a long time. It took us pretty much all week to get through the remaining ranks. And then finally, there are the raid chapters. Now, we have actually finished the first chapter of the raid. Pretty much got carried through by a couple of really good players, but we've actually found some people that are supposed to end up carrying us through the second and third chapters. So if everything goes right, we will have this DLC done by the end of the week. So that is going to influence sort of when I play this week and, you know, if I stream it all this week, just because gotta focus on getting this thing done. Gotta focus on getting through the remaining raid chapters. Be done with another multiplayer, have another whole game pretty much cleaned up. As for the New Game Plus DLC, I purchased something from Baku the Voiceless in New Game Plus. You can do this right at the very beginning of the game. Like, right when you spawn in, you'll head right to an island. It's like right in front of you, and it's got a haiku on it and some flowers. And you just have to buy anything from Baku the Voiceless. The cheapest things cost 5 ghost flowers. So that trophy is very, very easy. Otherwise, you just have to complete the game in New Game Plus, which is easy because you can do it on any difficulty and you can skip cutscenes. So this trophy is not difficult, it just takes some time to replay the entire game, probably 10 to 15 hours for this entire DLC. Iki Island, I can't remember. Yeah, I would have done some of Iki Island last week, that's what I thought. So we can go ahead and look at all of the trophies here. So this is a story-related trophy that is unmissable by completing all the story missions of Iki Island. You have to complete all of the Tales of Iki Island, so this is all the story missions and side missions. So there's not that many in this DLC, which is good. There's definitely not as many as the base game, because Iki Island is about the size of like one act for the main story, or maybe even a little bit smaller than that, because there's not a ton of stuff you have to do there. You have to rank up a couple of times on Iki Island. It's like a new set of rankings, but this is basically unmissable while you're doing everything else. This is another unmissable trophy, I believe, unless this is either an unmissable story-related trophy, or it's done by clearing all of the enemy outposts and having the island say that it's been liberated the way the base game places say that. There are only 2 mythic tails, so that's very easy. Just complete the 2 of them and you'll be good to go on this trophy. And then you have to complete the Memories of Your Father. There are 5 of these, I believe, and you can actually set your Traveler's Attire just to head straight to them. And then finally, you have to discover and complete the 5 unwritten tales of Iki Island. I highly recommend looking up a guide for these because some of them are pretty obscure and in very random places. It's not difficult because they're all very short, but they're unmarked. So it'll actually keep track of it in one of the menus. It'll tell you how many you've completed, just not which ones you've done. Then we have Iki Island Exploration. So they did sort of what Horizon Forbidden West, Horizon Zero Dawn did with splitting it into 2 different DLC lists. So for these trophies, these are all for just exploring the Iki Island world. So for this one, you have to complete 3 little mini puzzles of monkey shrines in a certain part of the map. It's like one little specific part of the map. It's not too hard to figure out, but I would still recommend having a guide pulled up in case you think you're getting confused anywhere. You have to get a bronze or higher on all the archery challenges. I went back and got them all gold because as you get your charms of concentration upgraded, it's not really all that hard to get gold on all of them, but you only need to get bronze, which is super easy. There are 9 animal sanctuaries. Basically, you have to go to them, you have to either solve a puzzle or kill some enemies, and then you play your flute, like with a little puzzle with it, and that's all you have to do. You have to complete all of the Bakken duels at the Hidden Cove tournament. There are 4 of them. A couple of them were a little bit tricky, but they're not terrible. And then you have to basically find, like, all of the side activities on the island. You have to complete the bamboo strikes, the haikus, the onsen, I'm not entirely sure what that is, and the Shinto shrines. I think there's only 1 shrine, there's like 3 haikus, there's a couple of hot springs, but they're not counted for a trophy. And the bamboo strikes, there's like 3 or 4 of those, I believe. So as long as you just set your Traveler's Attire and equip that, you should be able to find these no problem, or you can always just, watch a video guide if you get stuck somewhere. And then you have to purchase an item from the Crimson Dye Merchant, who is on this island. That's pretty easy, just use flowers for him. And the dye for your Sakai horse armor, you have to find, I believe it's 6 of the Sakai clan banners out of the 30 that are in this DLC. Once again, you can either follow a guide, or you can set your Traveler's Armor to find them. It's pretty easy regardless. And then finally, there was the Legends, Rivals, and Mastery Challenges DLC. So winning a single Legends Rivals match is very easy because you can do this in a private match with a friend. Summoning 5 shades, you have to do this in the actual online because there's no way to summon 5 in a single private game. But we got this trophy done pretty easily. Like, we just went into a random game and let one player get all of the points needed to summon the shades and then just do 5 within the single game, and that's all we had to do. It was pretty easy. Binding a piece of gear to a class requires, I believe, a piece of gear that has a level 110 Kai, K-A-I, which is how it's pronounced. It's the, or I don't know if it's how it's pronounced. I'm still kind of tired, guys. I'm still a little bit out of it. Like, I'm mostly over the virus, but I'm not entirely, I guess. I'm still kind of tired from it or something, and definitely still nose is stuffy and a little bit of coughing still. But binding a piece of gear to a class is pretty easy. That one, you just need to be the 110. Basically, Destiny power level is what that is. So just be at 110, and then you can bind a piece of gear to a class. For purifying a cursed piece of gear, you can only get these, I think, once you have a power level of like 110, and then you'll start getting these in the gold survivals and the gold story missions. And then to purify a piece of gear, you have to equip it, which will drop your overall power level and give you a debuff. But then just purify the piece of gear and it'll get you an item that can be used to upgrade your favorite pieces of gear. So like I've got a sword that's 116 power, and I've got a couple other things that are a little bit above 110. So yeah, Ghost of Tsushima is doing great. It is almost done. I just have to finish the rest of the story, which is probably about another 10 hours worth of gameplay. I haven't played it too much yet. And, of course, the other 2 chapters of the raid. But it looks like we got people to carry us. So hopefully that's not going to be too bad, and hopefully I might actually have this game done by the end of the week. It would be great to have another game knocked out and off the list and only have like 10 incompletes left. Well, I'll still actually have like 11 incompletes left, because I started up another game this week. Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon's Keep, a Wonderland's one-shot adventure. God, that's a mouthful. So you're going to wonder why my trophies, some of them are so close together and in a weird order. It's because Ghost was kind enough to power level me on a few of my classes so that I could have a Gunzerker that's a high enough level to do his trophy, my Assassin's a high enough level to do his trophy, and he power leveled my main class, which I'm going with the Soldier class, the Commando class. So because of that, we were able to knock out quite a few trophies last night, so this was on Sunday night. So you have to complete the first rank of all of the challenges, which takes a while to do. Most of them aren't too hard, but some of them do take a while to get through. You have to reach rank 35, which is the max for this little DLC type of thing. It's not as easy in this one because you don't really level up as easily because it's so short. So even after doing it as your first playthrough and your true Vault Hunter playthrough, you probably won't be level 35 and you'll have to spend several hours grinding XP just to reach level 35. So thankfully he was able to power level me up to like 19 as my main character, so hopefully I should be able to get this naturally by the end of the second playthrough. You have to have purple rarity gear or better in every slot, which is pretty typical for a Borderlands trophy. You have to kill 100 enemies with the Saber Turret, that's the Commando ability, and Phase Lock 100 with the Siren's ability. You have to Gunzerk for 90 seconds, which requires you to be a pretty high level as the Gunzerker, like 15 or something. You have to kill a Chubby, which is apparently the worst trophy in the game because it's extremely rare, like way rarer than any other Borderlands game, so not looking forward to that. Redeem 25 tokens, I think is redeem 25 of the badass tokens, so that's pretty easy. You have to remain in Zero's deception mode for 10 seconds straight, which is easy once you're like a level 10, or like a level 15 is Zero. You have to complete the side mission, shoot this guy in the head. I think that was a joke from the base game. Unlock 10 customization items is pretty much unmissable. Revive someone that's on your friends list. Got that done last night easily. Purchase items from the black market. That just requires some Iridium. That's pretty easy. Complete all, I want to say, 29 side missions. Most of them aren't too bad, especially because I'm pretty power leveled. I want to say these first 3 trophies here are all story-related trophies. This one is the one where you have to feed Butt Stallion 3 times with Iridium in a single visit to her quarters to get free gear. I don't know what this is. I assume it's like a certain side mission. This one's a little bit tricky, but I think there's a good place where you can knock it out. This is basically a circle of slaughter. Pretty typical for a Borderlands game. The Mysterious Amulet, this is actually a missable trophy. If you miss it, you're going to have to go into someone else's world and hope that they have the amulet and they'll let you use it for a second. But, like, there's a certain way you have to do this sort of toward the end of the main story. I'll have to look at that. But it's the only missable trophy in the game, which is good. You have to roll a magical treasure orb of many sides and get either a 20 or a 1 while rolling it, so I got that done. It just requires a lot of Iridium. This is the raid boss. Again, that's how Ghost was able to power level me, by just killing it over and over again. So, well, it's multiple dragons, but that was a good way to level up, and it got me the trophy, which was awesome. You have to use Death Trap to kill 100 enemies, as well as 100 kills as the Psycho, so these are also character-specific trophies. And then you just have to fire the Ludopult, which is something like 10 Iridium to fire it. We knocked that out because he already had it open. So yeah, made some good progress in this game, and hopefully going to cut down on the amount of time I have to grind by getting through that much of it. Alright, so it looks like LEGO Star Wars has not gotten any actual DLC trophies from that. I'm sure that we will still get them at some point, though. Level 785, 6%, 23,585 total trophies, 624 platinums, 3,913 golds, 6,271 silvers, 12,771 bronzes. Plans for the upcoming week. I intend to continue working on Tiny Tina's. I don't know if I'll quite get it done this week. We'll have to see. Otherwise, though, all my time will be spent on Ghost of Tsushima. So whenever those guys are available for the raid, I will be, doing the raid with them and be able to knock that trophy out. And then I'll just have to finish the New Game Plus, which is easy. So hopefully Ghost of Tsushima will be done by the end of this week. Tiny Tina may also be done by the end of this week. We'll have to see. I doubt Tiny Tina will be done by the end of this week. It'll probably take another week after. So now that we're into July, I might have to mess around a little bit with my games to work on list. So I guess now July will be Ghost of Tsushima and Tiny Tina and The Division, maybe someday. And then, once those couple of games are done, we'll head on over to Black Ops 3 and hopefully knock it out by the end of the summer. GTA 5 as well, as much of it as I can do. Then The Division 2 and Dead Island Riptide, and then a bunch of other old games that I've talked about many times. So yeah, that is going to be it for this video, guys. Please like, favorite, share, comment, subscribe, and ring the bell if you haven't already. I know this might not have been as long of a video just because, like I said, I'm still getting over the virus. Otherwise, the schedule hopefully will be fairly normal this week, but obviously doing the raid is going to take priority. Whatever day those guys are available, I'm going to be doing the raid. So we will see about that, but otherwise, schedule should be fairly normal. I actually ended up turning that Fallout New Vegas video I was talking about, that one luck at the casinos video that I mentioned a couple times. I turned it into a much bigger project than I initially expected. So I'm going to have to re-record the audio because I actually expanded on it and made it, I think, even better. So hopefully I'll have that out within the next couple of weeks as well. But that is going to be it for this video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and see you back here later this week for some more content.